Hello everyone and welcome to episode 35 of the Genre Blender podcast, where we explore what makes stories stick from page to the screen. I'm Kris.
And I'm Ryan, and we got a pretty packed episode today actually, because it's been a little while. You've been busy.
I've been so busy, man.
It's been a busy time.
It's been a while since I've even spoken to you, which is almost unheard of. So we were saying just off camera, it's probably been since the last episode recording, since we've even had a chat. So yeah, a lot has happened in the last month or so.
Yeah, it's just been a busy time. We were just doing a bit of catch up before we turned on the recording, and it's been busy. But lots of things just generally have been going on as well. Like stuff to mention, like there's been a moon mission that's launched. I've been glued to the screen with that. There's been a Steam sale since you've been gone.
I've purposefully not looked at the Steam sale. I think I bought one thing, but I'm very interested to hear about what you have purchased.
Oh no!
Considering off camera, you can give me the list of things you purchased. How many have you played?
Okay, in my defense, most of them have been multiplayer games because I'm playing some games with a friend. So that's the reason I went a little bit crazy this time around. But most of them are like a couple of bucks, which is always great. That's nice. But yeah, there's been Trans Day of Visibility as well. That's been happening. World Autism Acceptance Week is still going on. Well, month is still going on. So yeah, it's been lots of like things just happening, just in a general, like in a worldwide sense. And then on top of that, just you've been busy. I've been not so busy, but kind of just doing my thing. So yeah, it's been consistently busy, but
it's just been
life.
There's been a lot on. Yeah, life. It's just life has been lifing this year, I feel like. And I was saying to Ryan off the podcast that I've really just I had forced relaxation in Brisbane, and like that vibe hasn't stopped yet. So I don't know when it will pick up again, but my body just went no, like not today, for about 3 days, and then I've just ridden that wave. So now it's been like, I don't know, a week of just not really worrying about a whole hell of a lot, and I think that just maybe that has to happen sometimes, but I'm keen to get back into it. So we have a juicy topic today. We are talking about rereading, which ironically, and I bring this up as a segue, because when we go into our read, watch, and play, I did take a 700-page book. Well, I took the e-version of the book because it is quite large with me, and I reread that over 3 days while I was gone.
Interesting.
So a timely episode.
And was that intentionally for the episode, or you just felt like that's the thing you needed to read right now?
No, I feel like my world has been so heavy, and we'll get into, I guess, the reread, why we reread or why we want to reread. And I really am anticipating the second book in the series, which is now out, both part 1 and part 2, but I needed a refresher because it's been 5 years since it came out. So that familiarity, I was like, I already know the story, so I'll take that with me as a bit of a comfort, but also two-sided. I also wanted to catch up again before going into the next installment.
Yeah, fair enough. No, that's very timely. Spoiler alert, I've not done any rereading, but we'll talk about that. But before we jump into today's main topic, as always, we'd like to do a read, watch, play update because you have been on a couple of flights recently. I've noticed your movie watching has just skyrocketed.
I almost put in in my defense. So in our Genre Blender Discord, which you're welcome to join, by the way, and also give me shit. All the links for those will be down below. Our letterbox, I think it's just yours and mine, are linked to it, so we'll auto update in there. And there were 2 movies that I watched on a television, and I almost put in a comment being like, these weren't on a plane.
Oh,
just to say that I had watched something on a TV. But yes, I've watched a lot. I probably won't go through everything though, because there was quite a bit happening. I was also sick while I was away, so I wasn't doing a whole lot of anything but watching my phone. So I might just do a Cliff Notes version of the highlights, because I did watch, I don't know, I think it was 6 movies plus a whole TV series while I was away.
Wow.
So highlights, I did Silence of the Lambs, which was my Backlog Roulette pick.
Yes.
And I liked that so much that I immediately went into Hannibal, pretty
Nice.
much straight after. So my backlog roulette pick, I've taken those out and I put in Red Dragon, which I think is I think it's Edward Norton
Yes,
in there. So it's
I
not,
think so.
yeah. I did get a bit shocked with the Starling character change. So I liked Jodie Foster better in the first one. And then it was Julianne Moore in the second one in Hannibal. And like that
Yeah,
just like it did my brain was like, hang on a minute, what? Because I think Jodie Foster did such a good job, a good portrayal. Um I mean they both did an excellent job and Anthony Hopkins was fantastic. And I was saying to Rach, because we sort of watched Silence of the Lambs together, she was in the room while I was watching it. Like just the I don't know when it came out, but it feels like we've lost a lot of creativity in making movies these days because you watch those movies and I don't know whether they were the early 90s or late 80s, but they had to be really clever with some of the shots that they were doing to one for budget because you just didn't have the budget to have all this like blood and
yeah,
stuff because this guy is a serial killer. But the shots were really clever. They were super tight. The dialogue was excellent. And yes, the
yeah,
source material is also quite tight and one of my favorite book series, but it was just there was something about it which I was so captivated. There was no second screening. I didn't even want to pick up my phone. I was really glued to it, so that was amazing. And I don't see a lot of modern movies made in a similar way where there's smart filmmaking. It's just all let's do CGI, let's do whatever, which is why I tend to gravitate towards more artsy things, is because there's a lot of skill behind it. And that's generalizations. Don't come for me if you love Marvel. I don't. Whatever.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
then,
those fans are they come with pitchforks.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I also watched the Springsteen Deliver Me From Nowhere. And I thought that was excellent. I don't know a lot about Bruce Springsteen. I didn't know a lot about, except for like the very famous like album, the Born in the USA album.
Mhm.
And I didn't realize this was about the album he did prior to that, where it was really more about him struggling with depression and having to get this thing out of his head and out of his soul before he could become super famous with that Born in the USA soundtrack, which is what sort of blew him up. And he was actually writing that during this album, Neverwhere, I think it was called, which is what this movie is about. And I thought Jeremy Allen White did a really good job. I like that really slow character exploration where we see that backstory more than the fame. So I thought it was really well done. I enjoyed it a hell of a lot. And then I also watched You season 5, which is just so ridiculous. It is. I don't even know if you haven't watched You, don't.
I don't know what it is.
But I'd watch again. It's serial killer.
Oh, so there's a theme.
It's so schlocky though. It's so bad. It's enjoyable, even though you're like yelling at the screen. Be like, how has no one found this guy? He's so dumb. The way that he does things. Anyway, so that's what I watched when I was sick. I just like
Yeah,
binged
to binge
that.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's basically what I watched. There's some other stuff in there, but nothing that was good enough to talk about, in my opinion. One that I probably would recommend watching, even though like I gave it 3.5 stars, but it was still worth a watch, and that's sort of always interesting because it was like slightly better than middle of the road for me, but I think it's worth the watch. Was A Big Bold Beautiful Adventure, which is the Colin Farrell and Margot Robbie. It's sort of like an artsy romance. It's not super heavy on the romance. It's very much about the paths that we walk through life and having to look back to discover who we really are. And they do it together. They go on this journey together. And I thought that was quite an enjoyable movie, even though some of it was a little bit long in the tooth. There were some scenes and some things that I was like, oh, I don't think we need to do that. But as a concept, I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, interesting. Big bold beautiful journey.
Journey. Yeah. Yeah. That's a good date night one.
Ah, okay. I shall add
Yeah.
it to the list because we are looking for more of those. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I saw all of your letterbox listings just on the Discord. I was like, yep, that one. And nope, there's another one.
Look,
Nope, another one.
to your credit, a lot of them were on a plane, but a few of them were not.
No, I think it's good. I'm just saying it out of jealousy because I've really not watched much at all or anything except for one thing, which I can mention now. But yeah, that's awesome.
Wait till I fly to the UK and I can't sleep for 17 hours.
Yeah, you just your entire like backlog, you probably just
Yeah,
flick through
yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, cool. I've watched literally nothing except for one film, which I watched a couple days ago in preparation for the podcast because I knew I needed to watch it because it was the backlog roulette pick
Yeah,
of
right.
last month, which was the Bike Riders, and I loved it. I thought it was great. It was just, I mean, for those unaware, because I went into it like not really understanding what it was. It's basically like it's like a drama, crime drama sort of, but it follows like a gang. It's a bike club, basically a motorcycle club. But I didn't realize that I guess it's kind of historical drama in a way because it's based on the book by Danny Lyon, who I'm familiar with from his photography work. So his name was familiar to me already. Wasn't that knowledgeable about who he is, but he was in the sort of the neo journalism, like a new phase of journalism kind of movement where people would sort of hang out with groups or other people to sort of get some insight into their lives or whatever it is that they're documenting. So it was really cool that it sort of took that concept. It was like a story within a story, and it was like an interview kind of situation with Kathy and Kathy, by the way, and Johnny, the main characters in this film. So Johnny was played by Tom Hardy, and Kathy, I always forget her name. Something
Couldn't tell you
Kramer.
what her face, but
Yeah, exactly.
no.
Yes, exactly the same for me. Anyway, both of them were phenomenal. They just carried the whole film. But yeah, it was really great because it really kind of explores this. The Chicago, they call them the Vandals, but it's actually based on the Chicago Outlaws.
Mm.
And yeah, it was fantastic because I thought it was really authentic. I think they did a really good job, like visually. And the accents, the Chicago accents were amazing. And then there's a character that just suddenly comes in, played by Norman Reedus, and
Oh
I
yeah,
didn't
right.
expect.
Yeah.
And I laughed out loud. I just like lost it completely because it was just so unexpected. And you could just tell he was having such a blast with that role.
He loves bikes, so he'd have been
Yeah,
like stoked to be in
you
it.
can tell that he loves bikes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was great. I really loved it. And yeah, that director, his name's Jeff Nichols. I'm not that familiar with him except that he did Mud with I forget the name of the
McMahon.
yeah
Yeah.
yes yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of films that I've sort of seen in passing that I'd like to revisit because I thought he did a great job with this one. So I'll definitely go back and watch more. Yeah, that's all
Yeah.
I've watched.
I love those sort of films though, those really slow character studies where
Yes.
you just unravel the people that are
Yeah.
doing these things. So that it was like I know nothing about bikes, I know nothing about gangs, but
Yeah.
it was really fascinating just to watch unfold, and it was quite visually stunning as well.
Yeah. Agreed. 100%. Cool. Um, reading, gaming.
I've read something. I haven't gamed a hell of a lot, so we'll swap over. I'll do the reading, you can do the gaming.
Sounds good.
I'm playing Grimshire to completion again, and I've sunk many hours into that. Oh, I guess we're doing gaming first. So I go to bed normally at about 9 o'clock. Doesn't matter if it's a weekend or not. I'm an early to bed. I was up until 11:30 last night trying to get to
Oh,
endgame.
you rebel.
And I know, and I didn't get there, so I got up this morning again to try and get to endgame, and I'm still not there. I think I've got like half an hour left in it, so I'll be doing that tonight. But like I'm determined to finish it for the second time. Um, I don't know, it was just one of those things where it's like I just survived the first time around. I want to do it better. And I did do it better the second time around because you learn
Nice.
things, right?
Mhm.
So, and now I'll probably leave it until full access comes out, whenever that is. It could be years from now, but now I've played it twice through. I also played your Backlog Roulette pick, which was the Telltale Walking Dead game, and I was immediately nauseous. It didn't even, like, it wasn't even, there was like 5 minutes in, I was like,
So
um,
so Chris messages me over on the Discord last night. Was it last night?
yeah, because like I
And
was determined to
yeah,
get the first episode down. I
yeah,
was like, let me just at least try it, so I've got something to talk about. And like going into it, maybe unfair preconception. I do not think that these games are for me. So like, I was like, I bought it. I'm going to give it a go. Ryan really likes it. I did do the first episode, so I did like get there
Oh,
eventually. It
you
took me
finished
about
it.
2.5 hours. Yeah, so
Oh, okay.
just the first episode. It took
You
me a
fought
long
through the
time.
nausea to finish it.
Yeah, but it wasn't so
Dedicated.
bad. It wasn't so bad after we got out of the car. It was just there was like the
There's a car
first
scene.
scene,
Yeah.
and you had to look around, and you were looking around in first person, and that got me. And so I
Right.
died immediately because I was like trying not to barf while dealing with a zombie.
I
And
forgot
like,
that's in there. That because that is
yeah.
in first person. I completely forgot that was there. I think that's the
So
only time.
yeah, so once that was done, there were a few more times where there was like a scene in like a motel and you had to like move camera angles quite a bit,
Mm.
and like that got me a little bit. Um, and I can see why you like it. I don't think this is my type of gameplay because I got very bored very quickly. I was like, because I'm not a story-driven gamer, right?
It's a movie.
So
You're playing a movie though.
yes, and I'd rather just watch a movie. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't care, die. Like, there was like a scene with this woman in the motel that you're trying to save. And I was like, great, come out or don't. It's really not my, like, I
I
don't
don't
care.
care.
I don't care. And then, like, spoiler alert, this game's been out forever. She kills herself anyway. And I was like, why did I just spend 40 minutes of my life trying to save this bitch?
Yep.
If she's
That's
just gonna, anyway. So I got really annoyed at it. I will say it is a very, very interesting gameplay style, and I really appreciated that aspect because I've never played anything like it before, where it is a movie and the choices that you make dictate what happens. So it's a choose your own adventure, really, and like people remember certain things about you, and then that will change how they interact. And what I really did like is at the end of the first episode, you got a coming up next, and I was like, that's really
yeah.
cool. Like that's a very cool aspect. Will I go back to it? I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. I figured it wouldn't be for you, but I still wanted you to experience it. There is the reason I love it so much, and I won't say exactly why here because it is spoilery, and I want anyone who hasn't played this game, if they're even remotely interested, to experience it, and without spoilers. I think it's worth it. But there is something that happens like throughout the whole sort of series of this first season, and then at the very end that makes it all sort of come around full circle, and it's really satisfying, I guess. It is one of those things, you're in it for the long haul if you're going to do that. I don't think you're going to, so I'll talk to you about it after the podcast because I want you to know why it's so special to me. But look, I'm glad you've played a little bit of it. Like even just the first episode is good.
Very, very interesting as a gameplay mechanic, and I can certainly see why people. It's got that one more chapter feel to it. Like if you like that sort of game, it's like I can see people just being like, "Oh, I've not looked up from this screen for the last 6 hours because I've been so determined to find out what happens next." I think also just because I don't really care for zombies or The Walking Dead, like also like I was like, okay, well, there's dead people everywhere. So.
Yeah, I mean, look, what happens to that woman in the motel is basically that's The Walking Dead in a nutshell.
Yeah,
like things happen, and then oh shit, like I couldn't have changed anything, or I could have changed this, or that would have happened anyway, or to these dramatic moments.
I did like that you got at the end, like of the episode, it sort of tells you how many people that have played it, or your percentage. Like this percentage of people did this, and I was like, that was really interesting.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll finish like the one that I've got. I just don't know that I'll go on to like the next game.
Yeah.
It's not
you
something
don't
that I'm
need to
like
play anymore.
Yeah, like I'll do the 5 episodes. I just don't know when. So I'm like, okay, now I know that with the nausea, it'll take me about 2 hours ish. I can book that time out.
I do admire the dedication there. Yeah, you don't need to play anymore. The first season is complete on its own. Obviously, there are some characters that go into the next ones, but you don't have to play anymore. And honestly, that first one is still the best one.
Okay.
Nice.
You can do gaming now. Ready.
That's the extent of your gaming.
The way. That's it. That's all I've been doing.
Ooh, okay, I have a list, so bear with me. I'll try to be quick with all of the items on my list. I've done nothing but gaming, basically, and I've been playing some new games, or new to me games. So I have played a little bit of, and I've not finished any of these. These are all, I'm in the middle of all of them. I restarted playing the Trails in the Sky game, the remake. So there's a series of games, for those unaware, there's a series of games called Legend of Heroes. It's the Trails series because there's lots of different Legends of Heroes games, but the Trails series has been going since like 2004, I think. And it's still going. There's still games. There's like 13 games at this point, and they remade the first trilogy, or they're remaking the first trilogy of games. like recently, and they're out on like modern console Switch 2. So I'm playing the first one. The second one has a release date now, and I think they've announced they're doing the third one. It's a really good jumping on point. So anyone that's been thinking about playing these games, these are JRPGs. They are very classic turn-based JRPGs. Really nothing of surprise. you kind of know what you're getting.
They look Monster Hunter-esque. I'm just having a look at that.
A little bit, yeah. Maybe Monster Hunter Stories-esque. It's very anime style. So you kind of you know if you like that or not. Very, very classic games, but they're very good. And the story is what is interesting in them, and the fact that the story expands and there's different places in the world that things are like the different stories are told, and it all sort of comes together and you learn more about this world. So for those that like kind of big sprawling fantasy stories, people tend to like these games because of that, but they're also not necessarily fantasy because there is technology that gets introduced and like the magic system and stuff. Anyway, so I'm playing the first game of that. I'm about 2 chapters in, having a good time with it. It's quite relaxing, to be honest. So I'm playing that. I'm also playing, actually, no, I did finish one game. I finished a game called Late Shift. So speaking of sort of choose your own adventure games, this one is a FMV game. I don't know if you're familiar with the term FMV, full motion video game. So where The Walking Dead very much is like a TV show or a movie, but it's still animated. It's still, created. It has graphics and so on. FMV games are, they're basically movies. So they've been shot with a camera, and there's different, different choices that you can make and different scenarios and stuff. And depending on what you choose, you'll see different scenes, right? That'll play out differently. So there's this one called Late Shift. It's made by a company called Wales Interactive. It's a UK game. And it's basically like you're playing a movie. And this one, it's kind of like a heist robbery kind of story. Basically, you play as there's the protagonist. His name's Matt. He's like a college student, and he works like in a parking garage, like for fancy cars that people pay money to park their cars there, as like an attendant. And he gets swept up in this like heist situation. And yeah, the shit hits the fan. Basically, you can make decisions, and there's different endings, different outcomes. I've only done the one playthrough. It's been on my list forever, and it was a game I picked up during a Steam sale probably years ago. And yeah, it's just been sitting there. And I really do like FMV games. The first one I ever played was when I was in primary school. There was a Star Trek Klingon game. I have no idea the name of the game. It's been too many years, but I discovered that was a genre of games from that one, and enjoyed them. So yeah, it was okay. It wasn't my favorite FMV game I've ever played, but it was all right. There's different outcomes and stuff I haven't seen. I probably won't play it again. I might just watch it on YouTube or something. Yeah, it was all right. What else? Okay, so I'm still in the middle of this one. There's a game called Mini Shoot Adventures. You might actually like this one. Maybe. It's on Switch. It has a Switch 2 version. It was announced during an indie direct from Nintendo, although I'm playing it on Steam Deck. I think it's on lots of different platforms. It is essentially a top-down twin-stick shooter, but in the style of like a Zelda game, like a original Zelda game, like an adventure style game. Yeah, it's really, really cute. It's really well done. Like, it's really highly polished. There's stuff that you can discover. There's like little mini games. There's stuff you can unlock. You can sort of level up and find stuff in the world, discover more map pieces. It's really good. I'm addicted to this game at the moment, and it's not the kind of game I would typically play, but it's very good. So this is probably my most recommended on my list, and it's pretty new. So I think it was on sale both on Switch and Steam recently. So it's probably one that will be on sale quite often, but it's only like a $20 game also. So I've been playing that. That one's great. I'll finish that one. That one's super fun. And then I've been playing a game called Slay the Spire. Are you familiar with this game?
I can't recall it, but I've definitely heard the name. Yeah.
It's probably the most popular roguelike deck builder style game. I'd heard of it. I'd never played it because it's not usually... Yeah, you're familiar with it? Yeah. I think most people have seen it or heard of it at some point. Not my usual, but Steph was playing it on mobile ages ago, and I was like, "Oh, what are you playing?" She told me, and she showed me what the game looked like, And I don't usually like card games all that much. They have to be pretty easy to get into, and not complicated. And, because I don't have the patience for that. I'd rather play something else. But this is the perfect game. If you are not usually that kind of a gamer, this is great to get into because it's super simple to start and obviously it gets more complex, but really it's like it combines a game of chance with skill. So a run can never be quite the same. Like it's always something that's different. And then of course it's a deck builder. So you get cards and then you build up your deck of cards that you can use and get further and further in the run. So yeah, it's really good. Steph's playing it at the moment as well. Really enjoying it. What else? 2 more. So I'm also playing a game called I Was a Teenage Exocolonist. This is a recommendation from the name gets me as well every time. Yeah. This is a recommendation from friend of the show, Jack. And I've had others recommend it as well. So it's it's a game that I've known existed and just I kept looking at it going, I don't know if that's for me. It's mostly a visual novel. There's a lot of text to read, so it's definitely not a game for you, Kris. But it's if you like that kind of a game, this is a good one. And the premise is really interesting because you basically start as a 10-year-old kid, and you arrive with your family and other people as colonists on this new world, this Earth-like world. And the game takes place over 10 years. And you get to talk to other people. You get to decide how you live your life. Basically, there's different skills that you can, spend time acquiring. You can spend time with different characters, like to build friendships. You're basically like creating this life for this character that you're playing, and it's really, it has a lot of diverse characters. It has a lot of. It's a very inclusive game. It's kind of, you can tell the developers have intentionally made certain decisions about it. But just on a gameplay level, there's like a little mini game that's built into it with like a card mini game. So it kind of combines the story and the gameplay stuff quite well. Neither of them is annoying to the other. Like sometimes when there's a story game that I'm playing and then you have to do this little gameplay part of it, and I'm just like, I don't want to do that. I just want to know what happens next. It's not like that. So I'm having a blast with it. I played a lot of it yesterday, just sitting on the couch. I'm playing it on Switch or Steam Deck, one of the two. It's very good.
Are they handholds?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's very good. So, but yeah, not your game. So, if you like visual novels, you'll like this one. And then last but not least,
I'm waiting for you to rip into me for this one.
You can tell why I saved it till last. So yes, I did play a little bit of I Am Future, which was the Backlog Roulette, the Wheel of Chaos pick, the one that Kris chose for me to play. How do you think I reacted to this game?
I think the opposite. Like it's the same as how I reacted to the Telltale. It's like, oh, I can see why Kris enjoys it.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean,
We're such different gamers.
It's so true. Basically, polar opposite.
Yeah.
I wrote, and I'll read it verbatim. Kinda hated it. LOL. Sorry, Kris. Where's the cozy?
It is cozy. I love tasks though. I love doing stuff.
You love living working a second job for no pay, clearly. I literally felt like I was working playing this game.
So funny. I've been playing Traveler's Rest with Jim because she recently got a PC and she's like, how is this relaxing to you? I am so fucking stressed having to do all this shit. And I was like, it's amazing. I can juggle all these things. And I was like, I Am Future is you've got to juggle. It's a lot of balls in the air.
It is literally, it's inventory management, it's busy work, you've got to build a thing so that you can build another thing to build another thing. I went into it kind of with an open mind thinking I'd get into the rhythm of it. But honestly, like every time I realized I couldn't build that thing because I have to build the other thing first to get through that other place. And then like there were little bits of and I played 83 minutes of this game. So I've given it a bit of time, but not enough to really, I know.
I gave you Telltale 1, 2.5.
I tried. And then I would just get really frustrated because I felt like I was just working. But I
did like
it.
Relax, which is really, that tells you the audience anything they need to know about me.
Yes. there were a couple of moments, like there was an android that you meet and then there's like a interaction and then it kind of dies and you're like, okay, and you get to take something from it. So there were a little bit of story bits and pieces, but the focus is not the story, clearly. And I think maybe if
quite annoying. I don't know if you got to the bugs in the evening. Okay.
Oh yeah. And I noticed you can turn that off. So if you want that to be more cozy, you can just turn that setting off, which is good. I didn't. I thought the bugs were kind of cool, actually.
That makes sense. The one thing that annoyed me.
I don't know. I tried very hard to like it. I'm sorry. I also think I picked the wrong platform to play it on because I played it on Steam Deck because I don't have a Windows PC, and it's pretty small text and kind of, you need a big screen to play it on, in my opinion.
I enjoy that sort of thing, but I have learnt that I dislike immensely click-based story games where I'm just watching things instead of doing things. I'm very much a doer of things, so yeah.
Yes.
We'll try again with another Wheel of Chaos pick in the near future.
I think this is perfect because it's kind of like, I think even if you don't like the game, like I think we've learnt a lot. Like it reinforces what you already know about yourself and your preferences. I think it's kind of funny that we're so polar opposite.
One day we'll come across something that we both enjoy. Wasn't there a game recently that you're like, we should both play this and do a... I was Grave Seasons because that's got a release date.
Yeah.
Now, then I was like, okay, that might have a little bit of overlap. I still think it's going to be more of a me thing than a you thing.
I think the detective side of it might be...
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
To me. Don't know.
Because like some games overlap, like Eastwood, I think we both enjoyed as an example. I got the shits with the puzzle bit. Eventually, I was like, nah, too hard basket, and I stopped playing it. Yeah, anyway, interesting. I'm looking forward to whatever chaos comes up next.
Well, we're going to do that later, so stay tuned.
Yeah. We have been here for half an hour though, so we should probably reading very, very quickly. I read this beast while I was away. That was my reread, which is what we're going to talk about, but not this book specifically, just the concept of rereading. And I ended up mood reading Stephen King, and I don't know if I'm going to DNF this. I haven't decided.
Oh, wow. I'm
not hating it by any means. I'm just underwhelmed. I'm not wowed in any way, shape or form. I was like, nah, it's fine. We've already had some weird sexual innuendo, which Stephen King does do, and I don't know if I care. I don't know.
That cover though is way cooler than mine. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, this is the movie cover though. So that's Christopher Walken.
Oh,
quite young. Yeah,
it's a pretty decent movie cover as far as they go.
Old school. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading it 10, 20 pages a night because I'm doing so many other things that I can't count towards Goodreads goals or whatever. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Maybe I'll just keep going.
What's the other book that you read?
Dreams of the Dying. By
yeah,
it's
a chonker.
This one, yeah. So I've pre-ordered the other two in the same style, but I have no idea when they're coming because of shipping issues. But I'll probably never read them physically because they're heavy and just buy the ebook.
They just stay on the shelf and look pretty.
Yeah.
I've read nothing, but because of the Artemis 2 mission, I'm kind of in full space nerd mode at the moment. So I'm kind of excited to go back to Contact and Luminous, So yeah, I'll probably get back into those pretty soon.
I'm just in one of those reading moods where I don't want to nothing is calling to me, but I want to read everything. So I can't pick anything to read. So I guess it's kind of fortunate that I have things that I'm obligated. I hate using that word because I don't feel obligated to do it. I'm doing it because I want to, but there are things I have to read within certain time frames. So I'm glad that that's a thing because at the moment I'm left to my own devices. I don't know what would happen.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Well, speaking of reading, shall we get into the main
Speaking topic? Of rereading, let's go.
Yeah, rereading. Yeah. So this was a topic that's been on our list for a good long while that we wanted to talk about, and it just never really came up. It was never the right time. So it's kind of fortuitous, I suppose, that you are currently or have been rereading.
Yeah, I've reread a couple of things this year. So yeah, good time.
Yeah.
Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
No. Do you want to talk about the concept of rereading? Should we discuss what do we mean by rereading first?
I think this is okay. So we have different concepts potentially.
Yeah.
To me, rereading is to literally pick up something you've read before and read it again. Look, I didn't know that there could be more than anything broader than that. So please regale me with your definition.
Well, okay. So to clarify, then, I mean, because this is where it gets where there can be different definitions. Because as far as you're concerned, reading, like picking up a book and rereading it, you mean rereading from beginning to end, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I think rereading can be, you can reread in other ways. So
well, I would agree. I would agree you don't have to necessarily do it, but for me, that's what. Sorry,
that's what you
again,
do.
I cut you off. Yeah, that's what I do.
No,
if I'm rereading, it's
I understand.
Yeah,
I think that's for most people. Like when they think of like rereading, just like watching, like rewatching a movie, it means watching the whole thing again, right? I think that's most people's definition, and it was mine until uni, honestly, because then my professors kind of introduced an alternative, like the reason why you reread determines how you reread. And we'll talk about the why in a minute, but yeah, they sort of introduced the concept of sort of just rereading certain passages or rereading parts of it that spoke to you, or to get a better understanding, or what for whatever other reason. And so whenever I reread now, because I don't, and we'll talk about the particulars of it, but I don't often reread from beginning to end, but I do often reread certain parts, and I will do that during a read sometimes, and then sometimes after a first read as well. So yeah, I just wanted to mention, like, it can be other things. You can reread in other ways. It doesn't have to be a linear situation.
It's quite interesting. So I think academically speaking, particularly when you are not necessarily reading, I did a literature degree, so it might be a little bit different. You're looking at particular passages and whatnot. But I didn't do a literature degree. I did Asian studies and politics and marketing. So I do understand and appreciate the concept of, I don't want to read this whole article again because I'm reading for a specific reason.
Yeah.
Like I'm here to find one or two sentences that normally support my point for an essay or something. But I can certainly also understand, like, a lot of authors these days will put in like a story thus far, or there'll be like a wiki page if I'm talking about something like Malazan Book of the Fallen, which I'm sure will come up in what we're talking about today. I'm like, I don't remember who this person is. So I need to, like, because there's 1 million characters in this series, so I need to go and like reread a little bit about them to get the context. So interesting. But I agree, even though I didn't initially know where you were going with that.
Yeah. I think it, and we'll talk about this and unpack it in more detail, but I think it's all about, it comes back down to the intention. Because if most people are reading for enjoyment, let's say, you're probably going to enjoy it more if you have the experience again from beginning to end, obviously if you liken it to a movie, you're not going to just watch a little bit of a movie unless, I mean, some people do, they'll just rewatch the bits that they like, but for the most part, you kind of want that whole experience. Obviously with a movie, it's shorter, so you can do that quicker. With a book, it's a bit more of a commitment, but I do wonder, and this is a point I want to come back to later. You mentioned rereading again to remember something that you've forgotten in a story. I wonder how much people will do that in future now that we have AI and these tools to be able to just like give you a synopsis and what happened, who was this character and what happened to them. You could just look that stuff up now or ask a chat bot. So it'd be interesting to see how many people still enjoy the process of rereading.
I will still reread. I would rather. I'm not a huge rereader. I've been different this year. Like this year, I've checked a lot of biases off. I've just been like, why? Why am I living this way? I no longer care. If I need to reread something, I'll reread it. Anyway, that's another topic in itself. But I would rather reread something than go and ask AI to give me a summary of it.
Yeah. No, same. For clarity here, both of us will absolutely reread, but yeah, I do wonder what the future of rereading in a general sense will be. So let's go through some sort of like questions, and you've written a bit of an outline to go through. So do you want to talk about your experiences with, I guess why we don't do it that much? Do you want to start with that one?
Yeah, I think it's the new and shiny concept for me, right? It's that I have all of these books, and I recently did like a bookshelf tour, and I would say 80% of the books, at least behind me that people can see in the videos, I mean, you've only got 2 shelves here. I have 4 just within frame. I would say 80% of that stuff is just things I'm excited to read, but I haven't read yet. So big theme for me is curation this year, which is I only want things on my shelves that I'm either excited to read or I'm excited to reread. And anything else can be donated or just not be in my eyesight.
Yeah.
Um, because we only have limited space, right? So there's hundreds of books behind me that I've not read yet. I'm not a speed reader. I don't read necessarily super slowly, but I would say I'm an average avid reader. So I get between 60 to 80 books a year. I've got like I would say 5 to 8 years worth of reading material behind me without adding anything new. That is not even touching ebooks, of which there's probably another 500 books sitting on between the apps that I've got.
I just realized you quoting those numbers made me realize I've probably got decades worth of reading material because I'm slower at reading than you are. I probably have as many books, maybe not quite as many, but enough. And
that's not even including the books that I want to read off your shelves, so that I don't own.
That's true. Good point.
So yeah, it's for me, it's just there's always something more, and that drew my attention more than anything else. But then I've recently found a lot of value in rereading, which I'm sure we'll get to. But big one for me is new shiny. There's always things I'm going to die without reading all the stuff I want to read. So I better like churn through it to see if I, like any of it. But what about you?
Pretty much the same. Yeah, I wrote like it's FOMO, 100% FOMO.
Mm.
I think similar reasons, just there's always something, or I think also like even just doing this podcast changes the books that you choose to pick up as well. Like there are books that I want to read with you during like a buddy read because that process is fun, right? Like, I want to experience that and I want to be able to talk to you about it. Would it be a book that I would have picked up on my own? Probably not necessarily, maybe, but maybe not yet. So yeah, it's usually, because there's something else that I want to read or I want to be a part of something. But I think the time is coming for me to sort of put it into context a little bit and figure out what I do want to prioritize because I'm getting this feeling of just like, yeah, I'm probably going to leave this earth without reading some of the ones that I really, really want to get to. So I need to do something about that. And yeah, you saying that what you just said just before just kind of made that feeling sort of come back again in, tenfold.
Sorry about the trauma.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, it's mostly, and I think it's mostly because I have way too many hobbies. I've been focusing on gaming for the last month because, there've been, again, same concept. Like there are games that I want to get to that, I wanted to prioritize. So I've actually been doing that, but it's always at the expense of something else because you've only got limited time. You have to pick and choose what you want to spend it doing. So for me, it's mostly the juggling between games and books. That's going to always be a thing for me, I think. But yeah, it's FOMO. Yeah, the new shiny.
Yeah, look, I think we need to make some peace with that. They were always going to, and I don't hate the new shiny. I've definitely slowed down on book buying this year.
Yeah.
And that's been a very conscious decision. It's not that I'm not excited to go into bookstores and pick up all the things. I'm being a lot more, and it's not a financial aspect either. I'm just being a lot more choosy on realistically, do I want to read this in the next 12 months? And if I do and I'm super excited for it, whatever, I'll buy it. If I keep being drawn back to a particular book, I'll buy it. If I want to read it then and there, great. That's something that I'm going to take home and start reading immediately. And that's exciting. I think the whole consumerism concept of BookTube, it really gets to most people that get on the platform, at least in the people who I've watched have fallen into that trap of I need to have all these things behind me. I need to have 100 books behind me at all times. You don't. And I feel like just I've slowed down a lot this year in particular. I've slowed down on reading. I do more beta reading, which is stuff I can't talk about, stuff I can't put on my Goodreads like tally for the year because it's what I genuinely enjoy doing. I like being part of that process. So I'm very picky with the books that I'm picking up now, the arcs that I'm accepting, and rereading is like, well, I do want to reread these things. So a lot of this shelf behind me, so for people who are listening on Spotify, you're not going to see it, but people who are on YouTube, this shelf here in the middle is all rereads. That's a whole reread shelf of things I genuinely have enjoyed and I want to see if I still enjoy them.
Nice. It's good to have that as well to visualize it. I think that's a really great idea. Reread. I've never really done that, like put together a list of things I do want to reread. I have them sort of in top of mind, but yeah, not really in a way that I can visualize. Maybe I just need to do like a Goodreads shelf or something.
This unhinged shark shelf that people who are not seeing it don't have the joy of whatever this is. This is a working TBR for me. So I basically, if I read one, I'll then replace it with something else from the shelves that I'm interested in reading, and it just keeps cycling out. So it's always full of things that I'm excited to read.
Good. It's good to think of that as like it's not a backlog or a TBR shelf. It's more just like this is an opportunity. These are opportunities. Every single one of these books. Yeah.
It's very corporate speak of you. This opportunity that you have.
Exactly. So that, I guess those are our struggles with, or the reasons why we don't reread. You've got an item on this list here that says, has not rereading ever bit you in the ass?
Yeah, more than once.
Please tell me.
So I have a specific series in mind that I'm thinking of right now, and that is, I think it's called the Dark God series. It's by Tara Sim. I'm just trying to read it on the top of the shelf, and really, really enjoyed book one. So I think it's a quartet. That's not the word. Anyway, it's a 4-book series that's finishing this year. Books 3 and 4 are coming out this year. When I first moved to Perth, book 2 came out. I was like, yeah, I'm really excited about that. I don't need to reread book 1. Whatever. Not a fucking clue what was happening in that second book, and I read it from start to finish. I'm like, I have such a vague recollection of who these people are and what we're doing. Still enjoy the story. No idea how it connects to anything. So now I will have to go back and reread both of those books now. But I might just wait till the whole series is out so I can do it. Like, I don't like binge reading personally. I tend to lose things if I binge read, but I like doing it like consecutively. So one a month. So I'm not losing anything, but I do have other things in between. But yeah, it's bitten me in the ass a few times. That's why I read Dreams of the Dying. I'm like, I'm not doing it again. I was more familiar with that story, and like I hadn't forgotten much of it, but I still enjoyed the experience.
Do you find it's books that have like a lot of characters to keep track of, or is it like the plot? Like, what is it that doesn't stick in your mind as well? Like, what are the things that you don't retain as well as everything else?
I think it's all of the above. It's if there's a lot of moving parts that you need to keep a hold of in your brain at any given time. So with that series in particular, just to liken it back to that Dark God series, I think that's the name of it, is that you follow 4 characters, and of those 4 characters, each have a distinct family line, and you get their family trees, and all those characters are all moving, and they're different. They each have a different magic, so each family namesake has a different type of magic, and it gets blurred. So when I was reading it, and this is a book I'll have to do physically, I would have to flick back just to make sure I'd got it if I'd ever forgotten it, and I had the glossary there. And it, like, the glossary was still in book 2, but I'd forgotten who'd like perished or whatever in book 1. So I was like, oh, didn't know they weren't here, or they were here as I was going through. So yeah, it's just fantasy. I'm a fantasy reader. I don't have this trouble if I'm reading like thrillers, which I sort of slightly off topic, because what is one of these without a tangent, is I've been gravitating towards thrillers again, and consistently they're 3-star reads for me. They I don't think I've ever been wowed by a thriller, but it's that comfort, that formulaic, I can read it quickly, I don't have to think too hard about it, but I enjoy it for what it is. I've never had to reread a thriller, and I was thinking about the Second Lead Child book. I read the first one probably 6 years ago before I started doing BookTube. It's super clear in my head because there's one main character to think of, and all the other characters just cycle because they're so formulaic. They're different sets of characters every time. But I never had that issue with a thriller because there's usually 1 or 2 main characters, and that's fine. A fantasy, 100 in any given book.
that was kind of why I was asking, just out of curiosity, because I don't read fantasy typically. There's not a lot to keep track of usually in the books that I read. Like usually it's I'm drawn to like big ideas,
Mm.
and when you have like a big an idea or a concept of something, I think those are pretty easy to retain. Like if you look at I look at my bookshelves and I go, oh, the idea in that book was this and that was really cool, or those are the things that stick in my mind. So I have less trouble in that regard. So I don't have to like worry about like remembering the stuff, and I do annotate a lot and things like that. But I imagine if I was a fantasy reader, that would be a big struggle because I think I just get all that stuff mixed up.
It's also like I guess this sort of comes into the next sort of note that I've got in here. It's like, why do we want to reread, or what are the benefits of it? Is because I read such broad series, and this can be thematic as well. So I've got two examples of this. One is my lesson Book of the Fallen. There's a million words in that main 10 book series. It is
Words.
huge. While it's good and I appreciated it, there is so much I've missed on reading it the first time. And even reading it, that act of reading it through the first time is like, I will have to reread this in a few years' time because I'm going to pick up more. Now that I've got the broad concept and the broad strokes of what's going on, where the characters move, what the big plays are with all the gods, I'm going to pick up on so much more nuance and foreshadowing that second time around. And I would love to reread it. Who has the time? It took me 2 years to read the 10 books. But it's one that I would like to go back to. I think I'll do some of the side series first that are a little bit easier to read. The other example I've got of this is when we read Dorian Gray together. Is I remember loving the thematic. I remember loving the concept of Dorian and the discussions that were had around him, but I couldn't quite remember the nuance and the exact phrasing and whatnot. And I probably don't now, so I'd have to reread it again. But I remember that feeling and the theme that book gave me. And it's something I probably would revisit again in the future. Not anytime soon, because we've sort of just done it, but
yeah. No, I think I think for classics, we'll really talk about this in a little bit as well, but I think for classics, it makes a lot of sense. But I think, I often wonder, especially for something like Malazan, you reference this, like having, so many words, like it's so massive in scope. And I often wonder, like, surely as an author, that the readers are not going to get everything out of it, every time.
So one of my favorite, and maybe this is just 'cause I'm a nerd, I know a lot of people love Malazan, and I know a lot of people don't love Malazan for this, what I'm about to say. It has a dedicated Wikipedia page, which is updated.
Sure.
And I really, really enjoyed the fact that I couldn't just read a book. I would have to read the book with the Wikipedia page and find out what people were thinking and feeling, or what this race was, and there would be artwork and things that fans had done, and it was just incredible. I know that feels like work to a lot of people, so a lot of people will be like, I'm not here to work, I don't need this complexity. And I would argue that it's not as complex as people make it out to be. But that being said, I did need the Wikipedia page, and I did enjoy that act of having the Wikipedia page open at the same time.
Yeah, that's fair. I can't really say anything bad about that, because I do that with other mediums. I'll do that with like games. I'll do that with Mass Effect. Absolutely, like the wiki of Mass Effect, like, it's got all the different planets and the different races and their home worlds, and like the context around it, and the politics and the ships and the weapons, and
All
obviously
those rabbit holes.
Yeah, right.
Into.
I could eat that up. Absolutely. And I've been there, but I don't think I've ever done that with a book series. And again, it's just, different strokes for different folks, I suppose. But absolutely. That's the enjoyment for some people, right? So I guess in that regard, I would also, this is probably not popular opinion here, but I would also consider reading a Wikipedia on, like, around a book also a form of rereading.
Yeah, I would agree, because if you don't want to pick up necessarily the whole book, but you just need information on it, yeah, I don't see why that wouldn't be considered rereading. It's like, what about all those fan theories of what we're reading, Southern Reach trilogy? Yeah. Like, they were fun. They were fun little loopholes, and I think that I would pick up that book again if I wanted the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
because it wasn't necessarily that story was the most profound thing I've ever read. It was pretty profound and like thematically heavy, but it was the feeling, that
It was the
really
feeling.
unsettling
Yeah.
atmosphere that book like gave me the heebie-jeebies, and I was like, that's awesome. I've never had that experience before. So would I reread it to do that?
I still think about it, and it still gives me the heebie-jeebies
Yeah,
when I think about it, not even just reading the damn thing. Yeah, it's
I'm
crazy.
like, I'm such a fanboy. Like I'm so hooked on this fucking Area X thing, and I know I'm wrong, and I don't care. Like,
Yeah, it's fun.
still, like to this day, Jeff Van be making fun of us for being wrong.
It's our
Highlight.
claim to fame, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, cool. So let's talk about then what are some of the like the benefits of rereading? Why do it? What are some of the reasons why you've chosen to do it in the past? We've mentioned a couple, but I think there's some more to explore.
I really haven't done a lot, and there are books that I don't know that I will reread, but books that, and it, like, let's take Babel as an example. Babel, I had an interesting time with, and we chatted about it. I probably gave it a 3-star. I love some bits, I didn't like others. I would consider rereading that because of the things that I really enjoyed about it, and from a creative point of view, as someone who is trying to write and release books, there are ways that R.F. Kuang structured her sentences and things that she conveyed in that, which I really appreciated. And so maybe as a study of craft, I would read that book again. Super big plot holes, not looking how to do, like how to write a plot, but the way that she structured sentences and the way that she used footnotes, I think was very clever and creative, even if I didn't love the whole overall, like maybe how not to write a character, I don't know, because I didn't care about them when I was like, and then trying to like depict why didn't I care about them, what part of this writing experience made me go like when these big things happened, and trying to pinpoint that. When I reread Dune, I was reading it for a podcast. I'm like, oh, I read it a few years ago. I have a pretty good idea of what that story is, but I do want to not sound like a dumbass when I go into this podcast. So and the second time I read it, and maybe this is different for people who annotate, I don't annotate normally. That time I read Dune, and it's a little bit different now that I'm journaling about reading as well, because I'm taking notes. I'm more of an active reader in that sense. Another reason I've slowed down. But I got more out of it that second time, like underlying things that sort of meant things at surface level last time that really hit home this time. And I think it's also really interesting to read things like decades apart.
Yeah.
I was a different person 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And now I'm reading it through an adult lens, now that my prefrontal cortex has developed. And it's just really interesting to see what you take away from things generationally. So I think it's something that I'm really on the fence about rereading is The Name of the Wind. Because I reread it, I don't know when it came out, like 10-15 years ago, whenever it came out, a long time ago. And I enjoyed it, hated Quoth, but I enjoy, again, the sentence structure and the amount of care that went into the actual writing of the book. And I don't know that I want that tarnished, but at the same time, I've never read the second book, and I would like to read the third one if it ever comes out. I have no idea what's happened, so I probably would have to reread it.
You'd probably have to. It's been a long time, yeah. There's two points I want to make from what you've just said. One to do with Babel. I think you hit the nail on the head for the reason I mostly choose to reread, which is for like an exploration of the craft of writing. Usually if I'm going to reread something, that's why. And that's also why I'll hang on to books in my library that even if I didn't enjoy them, there's often a lot you can learn from, like, why didn't I enjoy it? Like, what is it about that I think didn't work? So there are plenty of books that I'll hang on to that I, didn't enjoy or didn't think were great that I'll just keep because they're great reference material, basically. So yeah, that's typically the reason why for me, more than anything else. And I am, I guess, a pretty slow reader. I do read quite thoroughly the first time around. So I do get quite a lot out from a single read from the book. So I'm not necessarily approaching it on a reread to see the things that I've missed or whatever. Obviously, that's not always the case. And for things like the Southern Reach books, yeah, there's stuff I missed, of course, stuff everyone misses. That's the point. But for the most part, it's for craft reasons. And also, I think in terms of annotations, right? I think one of the big reasons you made me realize. I don't think I've ever stated this on the podcast before, but one of the big reasons I annotate in the first place is to sort of have that conversation with the author as you're reading it, not just for me for now to understand my thoughts or untangle, questions that I have or things that I don't quite understand, but it's also on a reread. You're reading two ways. Like you're reading again the book, but then you're reading your past self's understanding of the book and getting another layer on top of that as well. So it becomes a really kind of meta experience.
It's an interesting exercise, isn't it? When you put it that way, almost like you're marking yourself against your past. And it's interesting. I wasn't worried with Dreams of the Dying because I loved it the first time. I loved it the second time. I picked up on more things that annoyed me the second time around. And that's just me as a reader having learnt what I enjoy and what I don't enjoy over the last sort of 5 years. But yeah, I would like to reread more for enjoyment now, but generally there needs to be a reason that I'm rereading. And that reason can't be, I liked it, because if I liked it and it's still fresh in my brain, then I don't know, is it worth it or can I read something new and like that instead? So I'll generally will reread because I have forgotten something. There's a book on here called, I think it's Dampier. It's like the really beat up one over here. I've reread that twice. And I have a pretty good idea of what it is, but because it is part of a 14-book series, I'm like, well, I want to get that context because it has been about 10 years since I've read it, even though I read it a couple of times when I was in high school. I'm different now. So
yeah,
I still kind of get it. I understand. I've forgotten the characters' names, but I knew that I really enjoyed it, and I know that I'll really enjoy it again. Well, hopefully, knock on wood, it's been a while. Otherwise, I've just bought 6 books for no reason.
Surprise. Yeah. I think one of the really big benefits of rereading, especially when there's a book that you've followed from your younger self and that you're sort of taking into adulthood and still revisiting it, if it really meant something to you. And for that kind of a reason, those books for me are like the Tomorrow books by John Marsden.
Yeah.
I will still forever always come back to those books because they mean so much to me. But I think when you're sort of revisiting those kinds of books, you really kind of get a lot out of them. You really get to sort of take like nuggets of wisdom almost as a sort of a guide to your life because they've informed so much of your life already. So there are some books that I will reread, and I don't mean linearly. Like I'll just pick up little passages here and there, but most of them are nonfiction. So like Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. I actually did read that from cover to cover for the first time a couple of years back. I'd previously only read little bits and pieces. Obviously, it's not really one that I talk about on the podcast or on the channel at all because it's not fiction. It's not, it's not genre fiction at all by any stretch. It's nonfiction. It's his diary entries. Basically, he wrote this book for himself for untangling his own thoughts, to basically understand leadership and things of living a good life, essentially. But I find it infinitely useful. Like I will revisit it from time to time just to get something out of it, to guide my own life, to live the best life I can live. And I think you can do that with fiction too. Like you can take books that you think have really informed your life, take them with you and revisit them every so often. And there's always new things that you'll get out of it, even if you've read it a million times.
Yeah, for sure. I was just thinking that like some of my favorite series I do want to read or series that I've done in different mediums that I would like to reread in a something other than what I did. So I've got you can't see it behind me, but the War Eternal books, there's 5 books, and I did 3 of them on ebook and I did 2 of them on audiobook. And I love that series, my favorite series of all time. And I was like, I would like to do the first 3 on audio and see what else I pick up out of it. It's almost like a new experience because it's a different way of consuming that story. And then I would switch. It's one of the only times I've ever had a series that had completed and then a couple of years later the author goes, oh, I've got more to tell, and like did a few that worked. Very rarely does that work, in my opinion. I was like, if it's done, it's just done. But because I love this character so much, it did work. He did it in a way where it did act like genuinely feel like that same character, that same feeling, but we'd grown up with her, and I would swap. So I wouldn't do 4 and 5 on audio. I would swap, and I'd do that either physically or on ebook. The Faithful and the Fallen is another one. I did all those on audio. I think I'd pick up more if I did it physically. So I guess that's rereading or re-listening.
100%. Yeah.
But I would do it that way, and I don't necessarily view that as a completely new read, but it's also not a completely old read because it's a different way of consuming it.
Yeah, you're experiencing it in a different way, which can lead to insights you hadn't had before, right? It's another way of experiencing something. I didn't even think of that, but that's 100%, that appeals to me a lot. I think I'm probably going to read a lot more on audio going forward, just because I've sort of, it's something I've always, this is not a tangent, of course. This is something I've known about. It's something we do well. I've known this of myself for a long time, but I think because of the stigma of audiobooks, less so now, but even so, especially in the land of academia as well, as kind of not welcomed as openly as perhaps, online. But because of that, I've always kind of suppressed my desire to just read something or listen to something through audio instead of reading the actual text, but I don't care anymore. So I'm probably going to do that more, in which case then when you're rereading, going back and reading the text, like you'll get something different out of it entirely. And that's quite exciting, honestly. I'm kind of stoked to do that as long as I can get over my FOMO.
I think you really hit the nail on the head about why I'm rereading more is I don't care anymore. I just want to read what I enjoy. If I want to reread something because it was fun, fuck it. Like, who cares? Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes, I still want to read new things, but if I'm in a perpetual slump right now because I'm so burnt out on just, again, in quotation marks, obligation things. Yep. So I haven't put out a TBR. I'm a planned reader. I can't. My brain's like, I don't know. I'll pick up whatever I want when I want it. If that's a reread, it's a reread. But I haven't stopped reading at the same time. Mm-hmm. So it's a slump, but it's a slump adjacent.
It's a slump adjacent.
It's slump adjacent. Yeah.
Perfect.
Now, we have run over time. So I do want to ask, because I like this segment, we've got a coming right up segment, which is what are you excited about in the next month? And I'll pick one thing of my list. Because you've got one thing. What are you excited about for the month of April?
This is not going to get me popularity points at all.
When have we ever cared about that?
Well, I don't care, which is why I'm saying it. But Starfield is coming out on PS5. So
this is why you bought an Xbox, right?
Yeah.
And consequently why you sold or gave away the Xbox.
I very recently, like in the last week, traded in my Xbox Series S. I bought the Series S, not the X, because I'm like, okay, this is my secondary console. I just want to play this game. And I've been looking forward to this game coming out. This was a couple of years ago now when it was first released. I've been sort of following it. Yeah. I'm not a massive fan of Bethesda or anything, but like Starfield is it was everything I was wanting out of a video game because it's set in space. It's like, it's science fiction. It ticks all the boxes. And it's not really even a good game by any stretch. It's okay. It has its moments, but I never finished it. And I didn't finish it because it was on an Xbox and I just don't play the Xbox. And it kind of looked like arse, to be honest, because the Series S isn't that great.
Controllers are superior. I'm just going to put that out there.
I have concerns. I have concerns with how the PS5 version is going to go, to be honest. But at least they've announced it. It's coming out 2 days from when we're recording this. I've pre-ordered it. Whatever. I'll play it. It'll be able to pick up and play. I can stream it to my Steam Deck. Anyway, it's not a new game. It's not even one that people like, but I like it. So that's what I'm excited about.
You're allowed to be excited about what you're excited about. I'm excited about a movie, which I think technically comes to Australian cinemas in May, not April, but it does release in April, I think, in the US. It's called Mother Mary. It's a A24. It's described as a psychosexual horror drama thriller. And it's Anne Hathaway playing a Lady Gaga type pop star who is past her prime. And all of those conversations about wanting to remain in the limelight, wanting to remain relevant to people in the extremes that we go to do that, particularly when you have grown up with fame. Also, I think it's queer, so I think it is sapphic. So I have convinced my housemates to go with me to the cinema. So that is one I will see in the cinema. A24, I have a real love-hate relationship with it because it just tends to be so fucking weird, which I love, but also sometimes it really just goes off the rails, which I also like kind of love hate at the same time.
It makes for a good conversation because it's just
does,
like what even happened, you know?
Yeah, but I'm super keen for it. I'm so stoked that we get it before we go away so I can experience it before we go to the UK.
You can let me know how that goes because I'm all for the weird. I'd like it to be cohesive, I guess.
No, I think I'm getting more and more into abstract. I've followed a couple of horror bookstagrammers last 10 year before we get into the wheels. And they were like, if you like weird shit that doesn't make any sense but is horrific. And I was like, yes, I do. I do like weird shit that makes no sense. Yeah, you've seen into my soul. I want to question. I want to come out of this experience going, what the fuck just happened to me?
Yep. Nice.
So we have the spinner wheels, which is whatever we're doing. So do you want to do your personal one first and then we'll do...
Yeah, let's do our regular ones first for our backlog roulette segment. So this is our backlog in a spin wheel, and I'm going to choose a movie this time as well. I chose The Bike Riders last time. Well, got that picked last time. But I'm in the middle of a bunch of books and a bunch of games, so I feel like that's probably not a wise decision. So movie it is.
All right.
All right, let's do it.
Ryan, movie.
I have updated this since the last time, so I've put in a new edition. Moonlight.
I was thinking you were going to get Princess Bride for sure.
I kind of wish that had happened because I need to see that movie. Moonlight.
Well, not this month. You don't. You've got to watch Moonlight.
That's okay. This one. Also,
this is Jordan
I feel
Peele,
like
yeah?
It's what? Sorry.
Jordan Peele. Is that one?
I think so.
I don't know.
I don't know a lot about it. I know it's an emotional film, and I probably need to prepare myself.
I am also going to do a movie because I feel like I come off these trips where I watch a lot of movies and I just don't.
We keep up the momentum.
But these are all... I did update this. Okay. Oh, the new Mummy is coming out. They're like, oh, do you want to go and see it? I'm like, I still haven't seen any of the original ones.
Yeah, wow. That's important viewing.
Okay, I actually just downloaded this, so that's excellent for me. I don't have to spend any money.
I don't even know what this is.
On Swift Horses, it's a recent release. I think it's 2024 or 2025. I think it's World War II. It's queer. It's got Jacob Elordi and I can't remember his surname. Will someone in it, but it was on my radar because it just queer representation, slow burn, drama, all the things that I tend to enjoy. Okay. I downloaded it to watch on the plane and I didn't because I had children next to me and I didn't know how graphic the scenes were. And I was like, probably not want what the kids want on the plane and I don't want to get arrested. So
probably good to be aware of that.
And the Wheel of Chaos. I think I updated this, but I think you've sort of watched some of these or played some of these. So we'll see how it goes. So this is for Ryan to do in the next 2 months before, I think, May 24th or whatever, when we're going to record that month.
I'm not seeing anything that I've actually experienced yet, so... Oh, another game.
I actually think you'll love this, because this is a you game, it's not a me game.
This one rings a bell for me, in title only.
Whispers of the House is very much like unpacking, but it's a bigger concept.
Okay, I almost bought this in the Steam sale. I don't even know if it was on sale, but I saw it. Okay, I know what it is.
So I think you'll actually enjoy it. I was being nice to you. I am future. I was like, I wasn't sure because you do get stressed out at like task-based games. And I don't know whether that was cruel or not. But I think Whisper of the House is meant to be pretty chilled out. It's not a thing for me.
Yeah, it looked pretty chill.
Oh, Unavowed. That's a big game. I did see that you could play it in third person, which is good.
Oh, yes. Yes.
What is this? I don't even know what it is.
One of my favorite movies ever.
All right. We'll see if your movie choices are better than your game choices.
Ouch. Yeah, no, you'll like this one. I'm pretty convinced.
2 movies. Nice. That's right. I've got 2 months. One movie per month.
Plenty of time. I got another game to fit in my life. I've got to figure out also. Maybe we need to add like a little asterisk to the rules here, because I've got to make sure I can actually play it on the platforms that I own.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah. I think I put Brokeback Mountain on mine, and you cannot get it in Australia. I would have to get a VPN to get it. I cannot find it.
Really?
I was like, I'll buy it, I'll rent it. I don't care. Like, I just never watched it. And that director, I think, did Mao's Last Dancer. And I just never watched it when it was out, and I cannot fucking find the thing. So
fun times.
VPN life.
Yeah.
Censorship, it's coming back.
Yeah. Everyone needs a VPN these days.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Cool. All right,
so we did it. It was enjoy editing this, but I hope everyone else out there enjoyed today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Everything that we talked about today, all the links will be down in that description box down below. If you're curious as to where to find us, you can find Genre Blender Podcast on YouTube if you want to watch it, or on your podcast player of choice, Apple or Spotify. If you want to, I know we haven't been around a hell of a lot, but if you want to subscribe, you can do that by hitting the little like button and subscribe down there. Put the bell notification on if you want to hear when we do pop up and make a video. You can also visit us over at genreblender.net, where you can see everything that we do, including some written articles if that's your thing.
Absolutely. And to all the world hoppers out there, we wish you safe travels as always, and we'll catch you in next month's episode. Until then, everyone, take care. Catch you next time.